Hello grade 12 student. لكن اليوم رح نبلش nutrition. كل اللي مطلوب منكم بالنيوتريشن هن 3 دوكيومنت كتير هينين وكتير حلوين. بس قبل ما نبلش دوكيومنت 7 بتشابتر 2 يلي هو دوكيومنت الوحيد يلي مطلوب منكم بتشابتر 2، بدي اعملكم introduction لتفهموا لما قلكم بروتين او ليبيد او ووتر تعرفوا عن شو عم بحكي. بكل سيشن رح نحط objectives ونشتغل عليهم. ليش أنا عم حط لكم هول ال objectives؟ لحتى تعرفوا بآخر هيدي السيشن شو المفروض تكونوا فهمتوا. بآخر السيشن please you have to go back to these objectives and to make sure that you are able to answer each of these questions. يعني at the end of the session المفروض تعرفوا تميزوا بين organic and mineral matter. You have to list the different types of matter. You have to identify and differentiate between energetic and non-energetic food. And you have to indicate the final product of digestion of the main substances. يعني whenever I tell you what is the result of the digestion of proteins, so you have to know the final product of the digestion of proteins, the product that is able to be absorbed in the blood. And now let's start to talk about the different types of matter. Mainly you have two types of matter, the mineral matter and the organic matter. So in this slide we're gonna talk more about the mineral matter. Mineral matter are mainly water and mineral salts. You can say instead of mineral salts, mineral ions. So the mineral matter or the inorganic matter are mainly water and mineral salts, and you have to know that although they are very, very important to our body, but they are classified as non-energetic food. Why? Because they don't provide us with energy. Okay, so when you drink water, because you do need water, because your brain cannot work without water, because your body is mainly made up of water, but water cannot provide you with energy. Okay, so mineral matter or inorganic matter are water and mineral ions, and they are classified as non-energetic food. However, the organic matter that are mainly for proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, and vitamins. So the organic matter are mainly four types: the proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, and vitamins, and they do provide us with energy. So when you eat proteins or lipids or carbohydrates, بس هو ثلاثة, these provide us with energy. Vitamins are non-energetic food. Pay attention. Vitamins are classified as organic matter, but they do not provide us with energy. So the organic matter هن protein, lipid, carbohydrate, and they are also energetic food because they provide us with energy. However, vitamins are organic matter but non-energetic food. So what are the substances that provide our body with energy? Now we're going to talk about the organic matter that is mainly used by our body to release energy. So the main matter that provide us with energy is carbohydrate. Carbohydrate that includes starch and sugars, نشويات, سكريات. The first thing used by our body in order to release energy, to move, to exercise, to stay alive, to beat our heart is carbohydrate. Okay, Where can you find carbohydrate? In the potato, in the pasta, in the sugar, banana, in the bread. Okay. طيب, whenever carbohydrate is digested in our body, it's gonna be transformed into simple sugar. The main simple sugar we're gonna talk about is glucose. Okay, so you can study this for now, that carbohydrates are digested into glucose. I'm not saying that the glucose is it's the only simple sugar, no, but mainly for now we're gonna use glucose. So whenever carbohydrates are digested, they will give as a result glucose, and only glucose is able to be absorbed. What the meaning of absorption? This means that it's gonna be able to pass from the small intestine in our blood. And let's talk now about the second organic matter, which is lipids. You can find lipids in the nuts, in the avocado, in the butter, in the oil, in the salmon, in the olive. So lipids or fat are found in this type of food. Now, when lipids are digested, they're gonna be broken down into fatty acids, 3 fatty acids, 1, 2, 3, and 1 molecule of glycerol. So for now, we have learned that carbohydrates are broken down into simple sugar, mainly glucose. Lipids are broken down to 3 fatty acids and 1 glycerol. Also, our body is able to use the fatty acids, the results of the digestion of lipids, as a source of energy. Okay, so first of all, our body will try to find out if there is any glucose in the blood, any glucose in the liver. By the way, in the liver, glucose is converted to glycogen, which is another type of carbohydrates. Anyway, now let's think in this way, that our body will search for glucose to use it as a source of energy. If no glucose is found in your body, so your body has to go and to look for fatty acids or lipids. So both lipids and carbohydrates are used by our body to release energy. But make sure to understand this. Lipids and carbohydrates are not only used by our body to release energy. This is not the only function of lipids and carbohydrates. Okay? We do use, our body uses lipids and carbohydrates to manufacture, to make other substances. For example, hormones and vitamins. We need fatty acids to make some hormones and some vitamins in our blood. So any deficiency, any lack of lipids in our body will lead to a deficiency in these hormones, a deficiency in these vitamins, or maybe these hormones will not be formed in our body. Okay, so a great deficiency in certain fatty acids will lead to a lot of troubles. We said that we need fatty acids in order to make new cells. So if we do not take lipids in our food, this means that our body will not be able to make more cells, and this will decrease our growth. Okay, we need fatty acids in order to make some hormones, like for example estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. These are called the sexual hormones. So if we do not take lipids, if we do not eat lipids, so we won't be able to make these types of hormones, and this will weaken the ability to reproduce. And now let's talk about the last energetic organic food اللي هو the proteins. Where can you find proteins? You can find proteins in the chicken, in the fish, in the meat, and these are called animal proteins. You can find proteins also in the leguminous plants, the lentils, الحمص, فول. كل هول حبوب منقول عنهم they contain proteins. Okay, you also find proteins in the dairy products. ألبان وأجبان. Okay, هلا when proteins are digested, they're gonna be broken down into amino acids. So the basics of the proteins are called amino acids. So خلينا هيك, let's sum up. Digestion of lipids lipids will be broken down into 3 fatty acids and glycerol. Carbohydrates will be broken down into simple sugars, mainly glucose, and proteins will be broken down into amino acids. Why do we need proteins? How our body use proteins? So after the digestion of proteins, the amino acids will be able to be absorbed in the blood. And then what's going to happen in our blood, in our body? Our body or our cells will use protein either to make structural proteins. What's the meaning of structural proteins? Proteins that are a part of our cells. For example, when a new cell is formed, proteins are a main constituent of the cell membrane. These types of proteins are called structural protein. اوكي, خلينا نشرحها بطريقة تانية. أي بروتين بتفوت بالcomposition of a cell, بتكوين السيل, هيدا البروتين اسمه structural protein لأنه هي فايتة بstructure. However, if these amino acids are used to make hormones or to make enzymes or any other protein that has a specific function in the body, these proteins are called functional protein. Okay, so إذا جسمنا استعمل هالأمينو أسيد مثلا لحتى يعمل أنسولين, لحتى يعمل enzyme to break down food, هولي كلهم they have a specific function ومنسميهم functional protein. Okay? And finally, if you are able to answer these questions, so you did understand everything. Okay, بدي أطلب منكم إنه to write down the answers of these questions and to send them to the agenda, please. Okay, so what are the different types of matter? And can you list, please, only the energetic food? And can you please indicate the final product of digestion of carbohydrates, of lipids, and of proteins? Okay, thank you.